Good evening, students. Today I am teaching you the principle of maximum social advantage. The principle of maximum social advantage. It was introduced by the British economist Hugh Dalton. And according to Dalton, public finance is concerned with income and expenditure of public authorities and with the adjustment of one with the other. So who has introduced the British economist Hugh Dalton? According to Dalton, public finance is concerned with income and expenditure of public authorities and with the adjustment of one with the other. The principle of maximum social advantage is the fundamental principle of public finance. This is the main principle of public finance. According to Hugh Dalton, his own words, the best system of public finance is that which secures the maximum social advantage from the operations which it conducts. Meaning is that the main aim of the government's public finance is the maximum social welfare. Now, what are the assumptions? Assumptions are conditions. The first one, all taxes result in sacrifice and all expenditure lead to benefits. All tax result in sacrifice and all expenditure leads to benefit. Second assumption, public revenue consists of only taxes. These are the assumptions of this theory. The theory will be valid only if the assumptions are correct. Now, the third one, the government has, or we can say that the validity of this principle depends upon these assumptions. Okay. Now, the third point, the government has balanced budget, meaning the budget should be a balanced one. That means revenue and expenditure should be or must be unequal. There should not be neither deficit nor surplus in the budget. That is the third assumption of principle of maximum social advantage is given by Dalton, the economist Dalton. Now, fourth point or the fourth assumption is that public expenditure is subject to diminishing marginal social benefit. And fifth point or the fifth assumption, taxes are subject to increasing marginal social sacrifice. Increasing marginal social sacrifice. And public expenditure is subject to diminishing or we can say decreasing marginal social benefit. So these are the 5 assumptions of Dalton's theory of or Dalton's principle of maximum social advantage, and this maximum social advantage principle is the fundamental principle of public finance. The first point is what? First assumption, all taxes result in sacrifice and all expenditure leads to benefit. Second, public revenue consists only tax. Third, the government has balanced budget. Fourth, public expenditure is subject to diminishing marginal social benefit. Fifth assumption, taxes are subject to increasing marginal social sacrifice. Now, the principle of maximum social advantage depends upon 2 concepts such as marginal social sacrifice. In shortly we can say write MSS, marginal social sacrifice, and marginal social benefit. Short form MSB, marginal social benefit. It means that the principle of maximum social advantage, we can say it as MSA. It depends upon 2 concepts. What are they? MSS and MSB. MSS means what? Marginal social sacrifice, and MSB, marginal social benefit. Now, what is MSS? It refers to that amount of social sacrifice undergone by the public due to the imposition of an additional unit of tax. It means that whenever the government is increasing additional unit of tax, what happens? The sacrifice of the public is increasing. Sacrifice means this much only, that it is not very, we all public are paying the tax. It is not out of happiness we are paying the tax to the government. It always gives a pinch upon the taxpayer, isn't it? That is known as the sacrifice. So whenever the government is imposing additional unit of tax, what happens? The sacrifice is increasing. Sacrifice means it is the opposite of the pleasure. It is the opposite of happiness. Burden. We can say burden. It is a burden upon the public whenever the government is imposing additional unit of tax. So it is written already, burden means what? Sacrifice. With the imposition of every unit of tax, sacrifice increases. Therefore, MSS curve, what is that? Marginal social sacrifice curve slopes upwards from left to right. Now, in this diagram, OX-axis measures units of tax in terms of rupee, and OY-axis measures marginal social sacrifice. So, in the beginning, when the tax rate or the unit of tax is OM1, MSS is OS1. Okay. Now, when the government increases that additional unit of tax or the tax rate from OM1 to OM2, what happens to the MSS? MSS is increasing from OS1 to OS2. And further, when the government is imposing or increasing the rate from OM to OM3, what happens? MSS also increases from OS1 to OS3. Got the point? And so on. Continuously it goes on. Therefore, MSS curve slopes upwards from left to right. Because this is the meaning, when the government is imposing the additional unit of tax, or the government is increasing the tax rate existing, what happens? The social sacrifice, the sacrifice of the public is increasing. Got the point? Therefore, the MSS curve slopes upwards from left to right. Now, the second concept is marginal social benefit, that is MSB. And the aim of the public expenditure is what? Maximum social welfare, or we can say maximum social benefit. Whenever the government is spending money, lots of money, the aim of the government is what? To increase the welfare of the public. The benefit conferred on the society by an additional unit of public expenditure is known as marginal social benefit. Whenever the government is incurring the expenditure, the maximum social benefit of the people or the social benefit of the people is increasing. That is the aim of the government. It is based on the law of diminishing marginal utility. The marginal utility of, we already studied the law of diminishing marginal utility in the 12th standard. When a consumer, he feels hungry, and when he eats one apple, he gets more utility. Isn't it? He gets more utility, and when he have the second one, he will get utility, but as compared to the first, it is less. In the similar manner, and this theory, law of diminishing marginal utility, is given by Dr. Alfred Marshall. Now, marginal utility in the similar manner, we can say that, or the Dalton is saying that, the economist Dalton says that marginal utility of a commodity to a consumer decreases as more and more units of the commodity are made available to him. The meaning is that whenever government incurs more and more additional units of expenditure, what will happen? In the case of public expenditure, what will happen? Social benefit decreases. Instead of increases, social benefit decreases. Therefore, the MSB depends upon the theory of law of diminishing marginal utility. As a result, the MSB curve slopes downwards from left to right. The MSB curve slopes downwards from left to right. So in this diagram, OX-axis measures units of public expenditure and OY-axis measures marginal social benefit. When the unit of public expenditure is OM1, MSB marginal social benefit is what? OB1. When the government increases the public expenditure, units of public expenditure from OM1 to OM2, what happens to the MSB? MSB is decreasing from OB1 to OB2. From OB1 to OB2. That is the meaning. Marginal social benefit is decreasing. Therefore, and so on. It goes on continuously. OM1 to OM2 and OM3. And what happens to MSB? OB1 to OB2 and from OB2 to OB3. This side is increasing and this one is decreasing. Therefore, MSB curve slopes downwards from left to right. So these are the two diagrams, separate diagrams, MSS and MSB. Now the last diagram, that is the point of maximum social advantage. So in this diagram, P is the point of maximum social advantage because at this point P, the MSB curve and MSS curves are intersecting, or we can say that MSS curve cuts MSB curve at point P. Therefore, point P is the point of maximum social advantage. And beyond point P is the maximum social advantage where MSS curve cuts MSB curve. But beyond point P, what is happening? MSS is greater than MSB. That is, at point P1, see here, this is the point P1, MSB is greater than MSS. MSS curve lies below the MSB curve. Therefore, MSB is greater than MSS at point P1. So, this is not the point of maximum social advantage. According to Dalton, which is the point of maximum social advantage? It is that point where MSB curve and MSS curves are intersecting. Now, at point P2, which is greater, MSS is more than MSB. So, therefore, point P2 is also not the point of maximum social advantage. So, according to our theory, point P is the point of maximum social advantage where MSS curve cuts MSB curve at point P. Thank you, students.